You are going to completely change your life in 90 days, and here is exactly how you're going to do it. I have gotten a few requests to make the podcast longer, and I totally understand where you guys are coming from. I honestly just feel like I repeat myself a lot of the time, so when I'm editing, I don't want to say I cut a lot out because I'm aware of it when I'm recording too. You know, people's attention spans, and like I just kind of want to get to the point of the episode. But I also, on the other side of it, understand like wanting a longer episode. If I'm listening to a podcast or a video, I like to go on a walk or like be cleaning or something, and you kind of want it to like fill up that whole space. So I am going to try my best. So I thought today's topic would be a good kind of segue into that because I was on TikTok Live earlier and somebody said that I should talk more about myself and personal experiences, which I've also been consciously not doing that because I'm like, I want to help the viewer. It's like not about me, but I also understand like needing a balance and like, again, just making it longer. Sometimes when I go back to my old episodes, I just feel like I talk so much and it's so annoying. So let me know your thoughts, but I'm gonna try my best, okay? So changing your life and using manifestation and using just also practical, realistic tools, it definitely starts with a feeling, and you just kind of know intuitively when you need a change. So for example, I was feeling so just kind of frustrated and annoyed and fed up with everything. I think it was like in October, and there's this long walk that I like to do from time to time, and I always have the option of like taking the train home or taking this like longer walk. So if it's not going to be dark out, if the weather is permitting, I like to walk because it's just like a pretty good walk. It's not strenuous, it's like long, but it's not insane. Every time I would do this walk, like I would just be thinking so much about how I was so frustrated with like my channel and my podcast, and just like I need to change something. Like I need to be on a new level. Just feeling kind of down about it, but also kind of frustrated, you know, like not just like sad, but like annoyed, like frustrated, like there was some energy behind that. And I think I remember it so distinctively with that walk because I would have just seen my sister or seen some friends. We would have like done a wholesome activity, and I was like, okay, bye guys, I'm gonna like do my walk. And it was like, even though I just had a great time during the walk, I would just be thinking about like my life and everything, and I'd be like getting so frustrated. So it starts with a feeling, and I think, you know, feeling like that is not a fun thing. Like it's not fun to feel like you're not satisfied with your current life, or like that you're not proud of yourself or anything like that. You know, we like to feel good. I like to feel proud of myself. I like to feel like the work I'm putting in is paying off and for a good reason. But the flip side of this, of feeling like that, is that it shows that you and your subconscious are recognizing that you are not on the right path. The right path being the path that brings you that flow state, alignment, that gives you purpose, and that just makes you feel good in your day to day. You know, life is never going to be perfect, but like there's definitely a path we can strive for that will make us feel like purposeful, satisfied, and like, okay, what I'm doing matters and I feel good about it. So this was definitely getting me down, and I think for a while too, and I'm just using this as an example, but I had definitely been feeling like this for a while, and then I finally had just had enough. And you know what's so funny? Oh my god, I didn't even think about this until now. But in October was also when I did Sober October, and that was kind of the start of when I just really started to cut out drinking entirely. I was like, I'm gonna do Sober October. Like I've done, you know, several months or like certain periods of time where I'm like strictly not drinking before, but this was the first time I think since like moving out here that I was like, okay, I'm like strictly not going to drink for all of October. I just really started to bring my full attention and focus on what I could be doing differently. And this can be almost like a painful process because again, it's like you don't really like to admit where you're wrong, where you've done wrong, where you could improve. You know, it's one thing to kind of like have this idea of like, oh, I need to make a change, or like I want to be better, but to fully like analyze, like in my case it was like my podcast, like to fully like analyze it and like look in depth at like what am I doing that's not good what could I be doing differently? It's kind of embarrassing. It feels really cringy. It's like, oh my God, I just want to give up. Like, this is so dumb. And of course you can like apply this to whatever, like a fitness journey or relationships or like literally anything. But I was just basically so fed up. I was like, I need to make a change. I started just watching a lot of videos and almost acting like I was brand new to the content creation space. I would literally take notes on these videos on like SEO optimization, how to plan out your content, how to become a content creator, like all of these updated like I guess at the time it was like 2024, 2025 updated, like how to do this. And I slowly started implementing these things. And if you guys remember, like, I don't know if anyone ever peeped, but like I started changing my thumbnails. I started editing my podcast differently. So they were like more fast paced, more like focused on one topic. I started prioritizing the short form content and really like detailed planning out each episode. And side note, it's not like my channel has blown up since doing this, but it's like finally, slowly, I'm like actually growing subscribers, growing views, getting more views than before. And that at least lets me know that I'm on the right track and that these changes have been beneficial. It's not like I'm looking for overnight like blowing up or like going viral. Because the thing is, for me, I'm very like organized and I can really stick to something when I put my mind to it. But it's like if you're doing the same thing over and over, like posting every day at this time and like really consistent, but it's not like not for the right reasons, but for example, like if I'm doing that, but each time I'm not putting keywords or the thumbnails are bad and it's like you just keep doing that, it's like you're not going to get anywhere. So you could have the best work ethic in the world, but if you're not doing something that's actually going to work, it's all for nothing. And that again, you can apply to kind of anything, like a fitness journey. If you're so consistent in doing an exercise every day or every, few days each week, but you're doing it wrong. Maybe you have the workouts on point, but your nutrition's not on point. I guess the point is sometimes you think you're like on the right track, but you really need to kind of adjust, and then things will just feel so much smoother. So my self-reflection and kind of making yourself uncomfortable, like, okay, this is cringy, like I have to look at what I'm doing wrong and like admit to myself like I need to change things. That's why that is so important, because again, sometimes it just takes a few tweaks here and there. And again, it's like, I don't want to say being consistent or anything is for nothing, because that's like something a lot of people struggle with, but work smarter, not harder, I think is the point. So how this connects with how you can change your life or change something up in 90 days. Again, get uncomfortable and peep at whatever it is in your life that you want to change. Look at what you could be. First, think of your ideal self. And if you're like me, if you're a perfectionist, if it's kind of funny actually, because if you're a perfectionist, it's like you never think you're good enough, but you're still not necessarily doing that hard, uncomfortable actual work of like, okay, let's actually self-reflect in an honest way and make ourselves like vulnerable and uncomfortable. You'd think like, oh, I'm so critical of myself, I'm so like perfectionist, I know what I'm doing wrong, but sometimes like you don't even want to face that. So it kind of puts you in this other category of just like almost nothing. Like you're scared to make a move. You're like frozen. I think something that really helps with that is imagining your ideal self. How does it feel to accomplish this goal? How does it feel to be at your healthiest weight or body? Or how does it feel to have a really productive morning routine and nighttime routine? How does it feel to graduate with this degree? How does it feel to have this relationship that you really want, or whatever? And actually write down, like first imagine and then write down what it feels like and looks like. Because a lot of the time we know kind of like the vibe of what we want, but when you can get really specific and think about how it would actually feel, that is so powerful. And it also makes it a lot more achievable and realistic in your mind, rather than kind of this abstract idea, someone else's like IG post that you saw and you're like, oh my God, I want that. But it's like every time you think of your goal, it's like you're imagining them. You need to be imagining yourself. So that's the first step. And I think always focusing, like again, it's like kind of both. You want to focus on the positives. You want to motivate yourself, and we're going to get there. But then it's also like, you need to make yourself vulnerable and uncomfortable by admitting like what you could be doing better. So it's both. It's just being raw and real. So basically the pros of making a change need to outweigh the cons in your mind. And that's why it can be so hard to make a change, because our brains, they're designed to keep us safe, and familiarity is what feels safe because we know that, we can predict that. That's why so many people find themselves in like unhealthy relationships, unhealthy dynamics. They don't go for like a better job or a better position because it's easier to stick with what's safe. And, when we challenge that, it's like all these insecurities and thoughts come up, like, what if I'm not qualified enough? What if I don't deserve that? What if I mess up? What if like someone else is better? We hold ourselves back a lot. So keeping that also in the forefront of your mind, like, okay, doing something, if something feels like scary, it's probably just because it's out of my comfort zone, and that does not define how capable I am. So making sure that the pros outweigh the cons. And you do this by tapping into your values and what it is that you do value. So like using my podcast growth as an example. Okay, I value connecting with my audience. I value peace in my day-to-day. So I want to like set myself up for my days being structured in a way where it's like, it feels like a flow. It feels like peace. I don't feel like I'm just stressed out and rushing. Making this change of like, making these changes in my podcast so that it's more like a flow and it's more organized and it just like makes more sense and it's easier to keep up with, that fits into those values. So therefore the pros start to outweigh the cons, and you're more likely to make those shifts because first you can envision yourself doing it, and then the feelings behind why you want to do this are solid and concrete and make sense. Again, it's not this like abstract idea. It's not like, oh yeah, in an ideal world. It's like, no, babe, you could actually achieve this, and it's aligned with what you value like right now in the present. It's like, okay, I value my mornings. I really value my alone time. Yeah, it's hard for me to get up sometimes because I really like staying in bed, but I also value peace and being able to center myself before starting my day, starting my work day. And I can achieve that by waking up a little bit earlier and meditating or journaling or having a nice breakfast or whatever. So again, the pros will start to outweigh the cons. And this is like just facts. This is not like, ooh, vibes, which we love ooh vibes, but like we need concrete reasons as to why this works, Another amazing tool to set yourself up for success, especially within the next 90 days, is to create small wins for yourself, because this will increase the likelihood that you will continue going because you are feeling that forward momentum. For me, for example, making sure I post like a short every day. And it's like, oh, okay, like I'm getting some views from these, like it feels good, it feels like aligned. Also, something for me that really helped was like planning out each podcast episode for each week, because I felt prepared for the whole month. I knew what I was going to talk about, and it just allowed for more consistency, and more of my energy was focused on like making sure that was really good and like getting the thumbnails right and getting the SEO right, like all of the little details, rather than like scrambling, like what am I going to talk about? Drinking a certain amount of water each day, meal prepping even like a couple days out of the week. Just small achievable goals. Like I'm not, like for example, I'm not going to set out like I'm going to get 1 million views on my podcast each week when I'm just starting out. Like, okay, let's restart this. I'm going to focus on something that's in my control that I can achieve and feel good about. Like I'm going to post a short each day or every couple days. I'm going to make sure all my thumbnails are cohesive this month. Like small things. It's forward momentum, and you're putting in that time. So it's still like an investment. So you're still going to feel good about it, but it's achievable. Also, I know we hear it in like every podcast, in every post about anything, but journaling really does help. And journaling the good and the bad. So like if I'm feeling really overwhelmed and stressed out, instead of just kind of trying to like ignore it because it doesn't feel good or like let it consume me, writing it down in a journal, like getting it out, helps so much to just, again, like get rid of it in like a healthy way where you're actually like focusing on it, but then you're letting it go. And then also journaling for manifestation, again, like your ideal self, focusing on, again, what your ideal self would be feeling and doing, and just creating that warm, good feeling so that it spills out into the rest of your day and life. I also really try, like this is just some quick tips and tricks, I really try to limit my screen time, y'all. Like it's so funny because y'all know I babysit here and there, but it is so true that the kids whose parents are more lenient with screen time, way less focus on, homework or tasks, way harder to connect with them. So I think the same is true for us as adults. Like, of course, our brains aren't developed, so we know how to emotionally regulate, hopefully a little bit more than a kid. But I do think it's so true that it disrupts your nervous system so much, like scrolling and just constantly being plugged in. Even if you are watching positive videos, like just that constant kind of dopamine, not good. But then especially if you're also constantly reading the news, reading the tweets, like my Twitter usage has gone way down because it does disrupt my nervous system so much and just stress me out for no reason. Meditating has also helped me so much, as well as not drinking alcohol, limiting caffeine, of course lifting, but also something about a good run or walk just helps so much, making you feel better. Like I think it's just those endorphins. So yeah, change is possible, and I think a lot of it just comes down to being willing to face yourself and make those uncomfortable decisions, noticing what your go-tos are, whether that's grabbing your phone or not going to the gym when you said that you would. And remember that slow and steady progress is still progress. Speaking of not drinking, I wanted to talk a little bit about that because I have been on my no drinking journey. I don't know, I'm just kind of doing it because it feels right. Like I'm not like, oh, I don't want to drink. It has been so nice to not be hungover and to just be able to focus so much on, like, again, my content, to just feel really good in the gym and to just feel like truly healthy, you know? But sometimes it's like, am I wasting my youth? Am I wasting my 20s? Because this is the thing too. It's so interesting because it's like, no, because sometimes it's like you don't want to hang out with certain people. Like there's things you don't really want to go to because you actually think about what it would be like because you're gonna be sober, and it's like I don't even feel like doing that. So it's like good because I am making decisions that are aligned with what I actually want and like feel like aligned. But then it's like sometimes I feel like I'm missing out on stuff or like experiences, but then it's like, okay, if I were to do that, it still wouldn't be aligned, or like I would only be enjoying that or hanging out with that person or going on that date or whatever because I would be having like drinks. Sometimes people will ask me, like, if it's like people I haven't seen in a while or like friends that don't live here, it's like, oh, what is that like weekend in New York like? And it's like, I don't know. I know I'm chic, y'all, but I'm not like on the scene like that. I love living here, but I'm not out like that. And it's like fun sometimes. But I think the season I'm in is very just like, I'm on a new level. And so all my energy needs to be like focused on that. And then it's also like, I am a true health and wellness girly. Like I need my full 8 hours. I need my steps. I need to go to the gym if I say I'm going to the gym. You know, I naturally just have always woken up early. And that's just truly me, like, and whenever I have strayed from that and been like partying more, going out more, like just whatever, it's never ended well. So I will have this whole like thought process and then I come to the conclusion like, I'm really not missing out. And it's not like FOMO, but it's more so like just kind of in general, like, am I holding myself back? But I guess it's good to like check in with yourself. I don't know. Let me know if you relate. I do not mean to be like, I'm so different, I'm so deep. But sometimes I just feel like not that I don't relate to people, but like low-key, I take this shit seriously. Like you will think you're on the same page with someone and then you're not. That is honestly something I have experienced a lot. Like throughout the entirety of time. It's like people projecting. It's like when you say you're not drinking and then people start like getting uncomfortable with the fact that they're drinking and start trying to like explain why they are drinking or something. And it's like, bro, this is not about you. Like my not drinking has nothing to do with you. You're making it about that. And it's like, I'm not judging you. Like I don't care. But people get insecure. You think you're on the same topic of like, well, yeah, I don't like dating this kind of guy. Yeah, same, me too. Or like, yeah, I'm like not really into drinking right now. Yeah, same, me too. And then it's like, the next day they are doing all the things they just told you they're not into doing. And I guess I've just kind of had to learn to like not that I would necessarily take that personally, but it's like I thought we were like connecting and it's like you were just agreeing with me because maybe you didn't relate and that like made you feel insecure or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just hard to be chic but also like true to the health lifestyle. I am dedicated to going to bed early. Because then guys too, if they see that you look like a baddie, they assume you're like a dumb bitch, which I guess you can use to your advantage, but that also gets old. Like I'm not on that type of time. I just don't even want to like entertain any of that. You must love like going to Miami and like drinking espresso martinis. And like if that's you, that's literally fine. Like, but that's not me. But they will assume. And that's obviously like just a dumb example, but like, oh, you must like only date, bro, you must only date like athletes and like this and that. It's like, okay, so you're saying I look like a baddie? Like, thank you, but like people just project so much. Stop. And I was actually talking to my friend about this. And she was like, yeah, it's like, what do people expect? Like, they think you're gonna look, I think she said like bookish. You know, if you're like smart. And again, it's like, I'm not trying to be like, I'm so different. But I think a lot of people's view of women is very like, you're in one of two categories. You're like, plain looking smart girl, or you're a hot dumb girl, and you can only be one. You're like a wife, virgin, Madonna whore complex, or you're like a whore. There's not really room for like depth, complexity of character. So I feel like that's also what kind of deters me from dating. It's like, okay, I look chic and I'm smart. I'm not into this. I'm true to this. And it makes people kind of like, it makes a lot of guys at least kind of thrown off. And then that's also where a lot of the negging kind of comes in. I got so mad the other day because I was thinking, I think I told the story when it happened. The date out I went on with this guy, he was literally like negging the whole time. It was insane. And now looking back, I'm just like, I should have got up and left. So all of this is to say, very into protecting my peace and my energy and time. And it's like, again, I don't say any of this to be like, I'm so different. But I say it because I'm sure a lot of the girlies feel like this. Sometimes it's just better to hang out with yourself, hang out with like your sister. In my case, y'all wanted me to talk about my life, bitch, I'm talking about it. One last thing I wanted to talk about, because I just need to get this off my chest: the White Lotus. If you haven't watched it and you're planning on it, spoiler alert, this is your warning. Season 3. But if you have watched it, you have to let me know what your thoughts are. I just finished the season finale. I think this podcast is going up the week after. Oh my god, so bad. It's shot beautifully. The acting was good. The story, they're so, like, it's like nothing happens the whole season. There's 8 total episodes. Nothing happens in each episode. They save all the action for the last episode. Part of me, I had some hope. Like, okay, maybe the last episode will redeem all of this. Yeah, they saved all the action for the last episode, but it'll be, like, it'll tie everything together. It did not. There were so many just stupid things. Like, they used a lot of, like, sex scenes and just, like, unnecessary kind of drama to kind of like make it feel like something was happening, but none of that ever added up to anything. Like, it was pointless. The ending was just kind of too much a happy ending, and some Belinda just getting the money that just like, oh, that like all the whole season it's like this ominous vibe. She's like having a bad feeling, and then it just works out. Yeah, an important phone call that you had with a creepy guy, you're just gonna omit that from the show. The incest for no reason. There was no point to that. You could have not. The 3 ladies, they just kind of like dropped their beef and then they're all crying and we love each other. Like, that was stupid. The girl conveniently decides to not go. I mean, that kind of tied in with the dad wanting to like kill his family, but the boy almost dying, but then not dying. Oh, JK. Oh, this girl's gonna die, but her man's also gonna die with her. And then like the guard is not actually gonna catch the thieves. He's just gonna kill someone, and that makes the girl like him. It was so dumb. The past seasons made way more sense. I feel there was more like build up. It was more like just complexity in the storyline. This was just so stupid. Like, oh my god. And I cannot believe, like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that agree with that perspective, but I'm still surprised at the amount of people like reading comments and posts about it and stuff like, this was the best season yet. Oh my god, Mike White, like, oh my god, you just like, that's his name, right? You just did such an amazing job. It was like so gripping. It's like, are you guys just, is this like the demographic that's used to reading the AI generated books? Like, read the new viral series TikTok can't stop talking about. It's like the worst, like most poorly written AI generated book ever that uses like Gen Z TikTok slang throughout. Not to talk shit, like, I'm glad people are reading it, even if that is what they're reading. But you know what I mean? Like, it was so dumb. Not to be a hater, but with that being said, can't wait for The Last of Us. I did really like the first season of that. And that was like a good show. Like there was action in each episode. It was like the storyline was going along. That was gripping, you know? So I'm so excited for that. Let me know what you have been watching. I honestly don't really watch shows like that. Like, dude, my mom, every time I talk to my mom, she's like starting a new show. And I talk to her often. And I'm just like, maybe if I feel like I want to watch something, I'll watch like what was I watching this weekend? Old season 6 of Real Housewives of New Jersey, which I've already seen. But it's like, yeah, just put it on, whatever. Not that I don't enjoy watching a show, but it's just like sometimes I just want to go to bed, you know? I don't know. I watched the first episode of Severance. It was kind of just like, I don't know. I heard it's a slow burn, but So it is fun when, you know, these HBO shows, especially, it's like on a Sunday and you can look forward to it and like think about it and talk about it and read the discourse, like, you know. But let me know if you watched White Lotus, what your thoughts were. Hopefully I didn't spoil anything for you, but I gave you a spoiler warning. So hopefully this episode was a little bit longer. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you want to hear more of, how I can make these episodes longer and more suitable for your guys' getting your steps in and cleaning and all of that. Love you guys so much, and I will talk to you next week. Bye, everyone.